fact, Mr. O'Neill, they had an extremist file webpage, didn't they?
Yes.
And they would, on this webpage, they would pick out some crazy hate guy, and they would, some bad guy, and he was like the extremist of the month. They would highlight him, and they would say, send us money to stop so-and-so. Is that right?
Exactly.
And F42 was one of the field sources, number 42, chair of some crazy hate group. The Southern Poverty Law Center highlighted him on their webpage. He's bad, he's evil, send us money. Is that right?
Yes.
Did they tell their prospective donors they were paying this guy?
No.
They didn't tell him. Did they tell him they were paying him $140,000?
No, not to my knowledge.
So they said, let's stop the racists even though we're paying him to be racist. That was their pitch. But they didn't tell him that, did they?
No, they did not.
Is that appropriate, Ms. Wiley?
I'm sorry, which part? Sorry.
All of that. Is that appropriate to say, tell your donors, this is the extremist of the month, this hateful racist guy is really bad, send us money, but not tell those donors who you're taking their money from that we're paying this guy $140,000. Is that appropriate?
Well, we have public reporting that over a dozen donors actually said that they
simple
spent
question.
the money
Field
as
Source 42 got $140,000 from the Southern Poverty Law Center, was featured on their webpage as extremist of the year or month or whatever they call these bad guys, and they were paying him and they were gating money. Is that appropriate? Simple question.
And donors have supported it, and they keep trying to send
So
more
it is
money
appropriate.
to the Southern Poverty Law
No.
Center.
Is that technique appropriate? That's what I'm asking.
That is not unlawful to say that people have done
I didn't
X,
ask if
Y,
it was
or
lawful or
Z.
unlawful. As you said earlier in your testimony, the court's going to determine that when they go to trial. What I'm asking you, is it appropriate?
As I said, the donors have spoken. And in fact, they're trying to send more money now, and their financial institutions refusing to send the money.
Is the Alliance Defending Freedom, is that a hate group?
I don't know. I don't do designations.
Well, they've argued 16 cases before the Supreme Court, won 16 cases before the Supreme Court. They stand for traditional values. Southern Poverty Law Center labeled them a hate group. Are they a hate group?
I don't know them, and I don't work on the designations.
Well, here's one thing.
I'm here to talk about
let me ask you
the
this.
impact on
Is
civil
Jane's
rights.
Revenge, is that a hate group? Because the ADF, they didn't firebomb anybody, but Jane's Revenge did. ADF is labeled a hate group. Jane's Revenge isn't. I want to know how you would label it.
I'm not here as a person who designates groups. I'm here to talk about the impact on civil rights.
Okay. Mr. O'Neill, you think any of these field sources were double dipping? I mean, during the Biden, Wray, Garland administration, the Justice Department paid a bunch of confidential human sources.
What happens when one of Congress's toughest questioners refuses to let a witness dodge a simple yes or no question? That's exactly what unfolded during a heated House hearing as Congressman Jim Jordan zeroed in on allegations involving the Southern Poverty Law Center, better known as the SPLC. Jordan repeatedly asked one question: is that appropriate? But despite multiple opportunities, the witness never gave the straightforward answer he was looking for. The exchange quickly escalated into a broader debate over donor transparency, hate group designations, alleged government partnerships, and the influence of one of America's most controversial nonprofit organizations.
A Garland administration, the Justice Department paid a bunch of confidential human sources, a bunch of them. We know a bunch of them were at the Capitol on January 6th. 4 went in the Capitol. And I'm just wondering if the same entity, the Justice Department under President Biden, paying these confidential human sources, who was working with the Southern Poverty Law Center, having quarterly meetings with them, consulting with them, giving them FBI data before anyone else could see it, having them train their prosecutors. I'm just wondering, do you think it was out of the realm of possibility that the Justice Department was paying the same sources the SPLC was paying?
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I have no information or knowledge that they were double dipping. I would say that Stephen J. Ross, who is author of The Secret War Against Hate, which is about the history of informants that Jewish groups had placed in some of these violent groups back, decades and decades before the SPLC ever existed. He said that neither the ADL nor the American Jewish Committee nor the Anti-Nazi League did anything like highlighting informants online as in extremist profiles while also funding them.
Yeah. Last question will come to you, Mr. Perkins. In your opening statement, you talked about how it was just worse than the SPLC because how they've put themselves out there or become the standard, help from the government, I think, in becoming the source or the standard on evaluating and determining what groups are hate groups, what groups aren't. But it's bigger and broader, it has things. But I think the real thing here is how closely they worked with the government to carry out what they were trying to do. And the reason the Biden administration embraced them, I think, so fully was politics, simple politics. You agree?
Well, there are members of this committee that were endorsed by SPLC. They had a C4 was involved in elections, so they were not just an umpire; they were a player on the field as well. So how can they be objective in determining who is a purveyor of hate and who is not? I mean, they had a stake in this. But to your point about their engagement with government, it goes much further than the federal government and the FBI and the Department of Justice and the Department of Defense, which their material was in briefing to the members of the military. But they also continue to have their Learning for Justice, which is about 500,000 educators across America, and bulletins to local law enforcement. And I happen to know because the agency I was with, the sheriff called me and said, hey, we got a bulletin that says you're a part of a hate group.
Yep.
And he was laughing.
Yep.
But that is the reach that they've had. This is the hub. They're the hub, but they're spokes that go out and...
No, I think that's an appropriate metaphor. My time has expired with that.
Please, don't forget to like, comment, and hit the subscribers button for more political updates.